Welcome to Mishna study, Masechet Eruvin Perek Mishna Het. Over here in this Mishnah, before we discuss, we need just a little bit of introduction, something that you need to know. And in general, a couple of points. One is, as we mentioned, if a person sets an Eruv, he has 2,000 amot from the place where he set his Eruv to walk on Shabbat, right? 2,000 amot from where he placed his Eruv. Let's say he placed the Eruv, and his Eruv ends in the middle of a cave, in the middle of a city. Right? So if you look at, even this picture I put on the screen, you have this little city, right? He's walking to the right and it ends in the middle of this other big city. He needs to stop exactly where it ends. You can't continue further. That's it. Even if it ends in the middle of a city, you need to stop. You can only walk until those exact 2,000 amot. But let's say a person's walking, right? And he's walking his 2,000 amot, and his 2,000 amah doesn't end in the city, but it ends after the city, right? This is the opposite picture. If you start on the right, right, you see the big city on the right, and you start walking leftward, and you see his 2,000 amah ends past the other city. So over here, right, obviously he's allowed to walk in the entire city because his 2,000 amah didn't even end yet, but even a bigger chidush, and that is we count the city, the entire city, as almost nothing. We count the entire city as 4 amot. And you could continue walking on that balance afterwards, right? So an example, if a person walked 100 amot to the city, walked from his Eruv, he walked 100 amot. He reached the city. The entire city spanned 1,800 amot long. And his Eruv ended after the city. We consider that entire 1,800 amot as 4 amot. And once he's leaving the city, it counts. It's as if he only walked 104 amot from the beginning of his Eruv, and he could continue walking another 1,896 amot. Right? That's actually the example Harambam brings, and it's interesting. So if your Eruv ends in the city, that's it. You're not allowed to walk further. You're not allowed to walk the rest of the city. You have to stop right there. If your Eruv ends past the city, then we count the whole city as 4 amot, and you could continue walking the balance as discussed. So Anshe Ir Gedola, if you have a large city, they're allowed to walk the entire small city. Again, we're talking about an instance where the Eruv that the people of the larger city set up ended past the end of the small city. Right? Again, that's the picture that we started. If a person starting from the big city, they're allowed to walk the entire small city because the Eruv ended afterwards, but not the opposite. But the residents of a smaller city cannot walk the entire large city, again, in an instance where the 2,000 amot ended in the middle of the big city. Okay, ketzad. And before I say ketzad, this Mishnah really needs to be fixed. The language needs to be fixed. And Harambam adds in a few lines over here. So as we mentioned, right, the people of a large city can walk the entire small city, but the people of a small city cannot walk the entire large city. But what are we talking about? When a person is moded, he's measuring 2,000 amah outside of the city. But if someone placed his Eruv, right, in the city, if you place the Eruv in the city, then your Eruv counts as part of those people of the city. You can walk the entire city. I don't care how big it is. It can even be the size of Nineveh, right? You can walk the entire city. Whether you put it in a big city or a small city, you can walk that entire city that you place the Eruv in. Ketzad, how so? Now the Mishnah continues. Misha yami ir gedola. If someone was in a large city, you place the Eruv in a small city, or you went ahead and you were from a small city and you placed your Eruv in the large city, you could walk the entire city and outside of the city 2,000 amah. Right, so this is important. If you again from your Eruv, you only let out 2,000 amah. If your Eruv ends within the city, you need to stop in the city. But if you place your Eruv in the city, then you become like the resident of that city, and the resident of that city is allowed to walk the entire city, and outside of it, 2,000 amah. Rabbi Akiva argues, Rabbi Akiva Omer, even Rabbi Akiva says, even if you place the Eruv in the city, all you're allowed to go ahead and walk is 2,000 amah in each direction from the Eruv, not from the walls of the city itself. Halakha, though, is not like Rabbi Akiva, right? Yeah, there's some other drawings over here, other pictures you could look through. With where the 2000 amma ends, but the same idea, the same concept, right? If he's walking and it ends is right, he's coming from a small city and his Eruv ends within the large city, he can't walk further. But the opposite, if he starts from the big city and his Eruv ends past the small city, then he's allowed to continue as mentioned, and you just machshib. All you count the small city is you count it as 4 amot total.